The SNP launches its manifesto in Perth later today. They are promising key pledges to support older people and also extra investment for the NHS.
The party leader, Nicola Sturgeon, has also promised to fight for Scotland to stay in the single market as part of Brexit negotiations. Let's go to Edinburgh, and there you see Hannah Bardell. Hannah is the SNP spokesperson for Small Business, Enterprise and Innovation. And well done in innovating that umbrella this morning, Hannah. We'll try not to keep you too long.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. But you have a lovely...
Oh, we didn't have rain when we started.
They all say that, Hannah.
It's just been put on specially for us.
OK, OK. Look, this will not affect you because you've got a 17,000 majority, so I'm sure you'll be OK. But the predictions are that as a party you're going to lose seats because, Hannah, let's get the bad bit out of the way, that you're one-trick ponies obsessed with independence.
Well, I mean, first of all, what I'd say is, you know, majorities mean nothing. The poll that matters is the poll on the day, on the 8th of June, and you take nothing for granted. So I will be doing my best to get every vote possible, and I know all of my colleagues will. And in terms of being a one-trick pony, I mean, I think it's a bit offensive when you look at our track record. I mean, MPs from all parties have said to us, you know, during the last 2 years, and you know, I've even had, you know, London cabbies saying that we have been the real opposition, that we have really been the party and the group of MPs that have stood up to Tory austerity, and that is something that we will continue to do. It's been very sad to see the state that the Labour Party have got into.
Hannah, how can you do that if independence is going to continue to be at the centre of your manifesto and your message? I mean, you're the small business spokesperson there. How on earth can Scotland finance itself given that oil revenue has gone down the pan?
Well, as we have said repeatedly, this election is not about independence. What this election is about is how the Conservatives, as they look like they're going to be back in power, are going to treat the people of this country. And what we have heard time and time again is U-turns, the treatment of older people, the dementia tax, you know, cutting the winter fuel allowance and pushing some of the poorest people in our society into poverty. And what we have said in our proposals that we're going to be putting forward in our manifesto today is £118 billion into the public purse to support people, to make sure there are no welfare cuts and support social security. Now, that is a strong message.
Yeah, but Hannah, the message that we're trying to say to you is, how do you pay that? You've got no oil revenue. The oil revenue is not the way it was. How do you finance that, as Charlotte just said? And, you know, you're a small business person. It's only individuals and businesses that make money at the end of the day. You're talking about how to spend that money. But the majority of people working in Scotland work for government-funded agencies, so we just come back to the whole thing. It's fine giving stuff away, having free prescriptions and free winter fuel allowances and free students at university. Someday, the bill comes in.
Well, what we are seeing is Scotland's economy growing. What we are seeing is more young people going on to positive destinations. Over 90% of young people in Scotland are going on to positive destinations. We've got record investment in NHS spending, and we are protecting frontline services in Scotland. We've made different decisions, and it is only the other parties that seem to be talking about independence. We're talking about the real issues. We're talking about our achievements at Westminster, and while we are still at Westminster, we'll be a progressive and strong voice for Scotland, and indeed for the rest of the UK. You know, so many people around the UK write to Nicola Sturgeon and get in contact with us and say they wish they could vote for the SNP. But we are, you know, we are continuing to be a strong opposition, and we will continue to do that in whatever number we are re-elected to in Westminster. And today Nicola Sturgeon will set out our manifesto and what we will do to hold the Tory government to account and be a strong voice for Scotland.
And what about, I mean, we're looking at the details in the manifesto a lot on what will happen for older people here, but there are big questions about the younger generation. And when we look at your record so far, 500 teacher shortages, there are figures published that show the literacy skills of Scottish school pupils have fallen over the past 4 years. So when we look back on what you've been achieving over the last 4 years, there are big gaps here.
Well, we are very proud of our record, but there is no doubt that there are challenges, and Nicola Sturgeon has been very open and clear about that. But let's not forget, Scotland is going to have had £2.9 billion cut from its budget by the end of this decade. So what we are doing is we're protecting frontline services. We've seen higher passes in our exams going up, and over 90% of young people going on to positive destinations, far higher than anywhere else in the UK. So you have to look at the outcomes. That's the most important thing, is looking at the outcomes. And look at what the Tory government are doing, cutting housing benefit for 18 to 21-year-olds, and really charging students to go to university. We've made different choices in Scotland, choices that are bearing out and proving that we are benefiting the people in Scotland, and that we are continuing to stand up for them and being a strong voice in opposition against a Tory government that just wants to cut left, right and centre and push people into further poverty.